the World Championships now. 1992. Now, on the way there, you've lost Colin Chapman, your first backer, and Peter Warry's replacement said you'd never win a Grand Prix after that, which was completely
you haven't finished
wrong.
the sentence actually, Gary, but I know what you mean.
Well, he has a hole somewhere, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to say that, but I'll leave it to you, Murray.
But sadly, he's just passed too. So
yeah, but you lost
condolences.
Colin Chapman, and you were the last choice for Ferrari by Enzo Ferrari, who died later. So
that's fantastic.
People rooting for you were going, but you were still determined. Fantastic days with Ferrari without the success, but you were runner-up. Now, just before the World Championship, of course, there's that famous picture of the wheel going round and round and round when the tyre burst at Adelaide, I think it was. So going into 92, Williams have actually, Damon's the test driver, so he's watching, and I'll ask you about that in a moment, but 1992, it's all geared now, isn't it, with Williams have got a really competitive car.
Yeah, I mean, I think the story, we've got to go back to, obviously, when that tyre blew. And first of all, the thing to do is to read a rule book at 210 miles an hour. Because if you crash and stay on the circuit and the race has gone over 2/3, they'll probably red flag it. And then you take it from the lap before and you win the World Championship. But the car was out of the way.
Don't think of that at the time.
But you don't think about that at that time. I found that in motor racing, the impossible sometimes happens. I went to Ferrari as the outright #1, which was incredible. Then they brought Alan in as the reigning world champion, and they brought my #1 status out of the contract. And then it was at Silverstone, people forgetting 1990, that I actually retired from Formula One. I did retire, and the reason I retired is I went out into the lead and then I had problems with my car again. I think the other thing as well that people don't realise then, I don't think it happens so much now, that we had qualifying cars and race cars. So Ricard, who qualifies on pole, myself, and we get to then Silverstone a week later, and I get in my Ferrari car and sit in there, and nothing feels the same. It's like a pair of trousers you put on, but the chassis numbers are the same, and the steering column's the same, and the wheel and all the other things, the seat, and obviously, and the identification, but I know it's not my car. So I hit the rev limiter because the British Grand Prix for me is the most precious Grand Prix in the world. It's in front of your home crowd. And I said, please tell me, I know you swapped the cars. He's got my qualifying car from Ricard. No. Long story short, anyway, I motivated someone to tell me the truth. And of course, they had swapped the cars. Greg Norman was with me that weekend and he saw how upset I was. And he said, look, just calm down. He said, pull the chain a little bit, clear your head and stick it to him. I said, well, how can I stick it to him? And he said, well, just go out and qualify in his car on pole position, which I did. But then in the race, I got into the lead, and then, of course, I was in the second car. The reliability then with Ferrari wasn't anything like it should have been. And I couldn't take it anymore, so I retired. And when I stopped on Copse Corner, I threw my helmet, not my helmet, my balaclava, my gloves and everything else, had a press conference, and I retired from Formula One happy because I'd seen at that time 24 or 26 of my comrades die. I had a cracking career, and I'd made up my mind, being bridesmaid so many times, that I was never going to be in the right position to get the backing to become world champion. And I've got a lot of injuries I'm still carrying now, and I thought, well, I'm still alive, I'm happy, how long is a piece of string? I didn't want to play anymore, so I retired. And then the most amazing thing happened, as Damon knows, because he was there at the time, was Frank Williams was going to have Alan Prost and Ayrton Senna in the car and the team for next year. But then things didn't work out, and they went and stayed with McLaren. And then obviously Williams didn't have a #1 driver for the following year. And it's on the record, isn't it, Murray, because you did an interview with Sir Frank saying that what I was asking for was impossible. Because what I was asking for was guarantees I wouldn't be fired after 1 year. And, I'd have the pick of the gearboxes, the engines, the personnel, and, we had mega fuel then, didn't we? The fuel manufacturers had to develop incredible rocket fuel, which was so dangerous. A lot of people died handling it, although that's not politically correct to say that, but they did. And you had to have all this because, you had a gallon of fuel, normal fuel was that. This rocket fuel, you put it in, you got another 80 horsepower throughout the whole torque band. And basically, I wanted all these guarantees, and they said it's impossible. And I said, well, that's fine. I'm happy, I'm retired, I'm alive. please go away. 3 weeks later, Gary, they came with contracts like this and said, right, we agree everything. So I found out, you know, Murray was there, that the impossible only takes 3 weeks. And so I'm the most successful retired race car driver ever in the history of racing. Because since I retired, I won 2 world championships on both sides of the Atlantic.
What about the 92 championship?
It was fantastic. It was fantastic because I broke my foot in the last race, in that horrendous race in Australia, which was stopped. Ayrton and I were again trying to kill ourselves, weren't we, a bit racing for first and second. And basically I think there was something like 6 cars on the main straight, and there was like 10 cars out. We had a typhoon come through, didn't we?
Appalling. Never seen anything like it.
And anyway, on one lap, I pulled out of Ayrton Spray to see where I was going, and there was a parked car, and I had to pull this way, and then I aquaplaned, and then I hit the wall on the left side quite hard, and it broke my last 2 toes and smashed my bones in my left foot, which no one knew about. And there's another funny story with Sid Watkins, because he came to the car and he said, "You're all right, you're all right." He said, "You haven't got out of the car." I said, "No, it's raining. I'm staying here." But then we go into 92, and you can smell it. Damon can tell you this. When you got one chance that you know you're with probably the best team, you got the best car, you got the best people supporting you, the only thing was I had a broken foot. And they wanted to operate on it immediately when I got back to America, because I was living in America at the time for better living with all my, because I broke my back 3 times, as you know. And it put me out for 3 months. And so I said, no, you can't operate. You know, I'll get a carbon Kevlar insert with, I had 1 pair of boots all year, didn't I, Mary, that I could only wear. And I drove all year, and I won the World Championship with a broken left foot.
Fantastic.
Because you know, I didn't want to give it up.
No.
And when I weighed in at the beginning of the year, my teammate at the time was Riccardo Patrese, and he's a wonderful man. He is a wonderful man. He is, oh, he's so funny, because you can get him on the rev limiter, no problem at all. And we got on the scales, and he was jumping up and down. You can't be that light, because I actually trained so hard that winter. I wanted to be fitter and stronger than I could ever be. And so it was a very funny year.